now transitioning into a game with a few more playoff implications, right? Notre Dame and Clemson playing in Charlotte in our school's backyard, not our own backyards right now, unfortunately, at Bank of America Stadium. Big tilt, obviously. Notre Dame wins this game a couple months ago in South Bend without Trevor Lawrence, but it's a totally different animal with the starting quarterback and potential number one pick back. So, Joe, who do you have in this game, and what does Notre Dame need to do to win it?
You know, I'm gonna say Notre Dame only
Really?
because I'm not a fan of Clemson.
Okay.
And I also think it's going to be closer than people think. Like
Oh,
Clemson,
for sure.
Clemson is 7.5,
10.5.
10.5. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be less than score, honestly, less than touchdowns.
I could agree with that.
And I mean, Notre Dame is just like, because they're boring to watch, their style of football is just kind of boring, but they are a good team.
Yep.
And their defense is really good. I mean, like, if they can hold off Trevor Lawrence, which is hard, then I can see them winning. And if they do, then you know what that means? That means Trevor Lawrence and the Clemson Tigers are out of the playoffs, most likely. Unless Texas A&M, loses. Which would be so cool, because screw Clemson making it every damn year,
Well, Joe, you're not going to like my pick because it's going to mean Clemson's going to make it again. I have Clemson winning this game. I think it's going to be close. Here's my thing on Notre Dame, right? They played a phenomenal game against Clemson. They won that game in double overtime. They deservedly won that game. If you watched, right, towards the end of the game, Clemson really struggled to move it. In overtime, they didn't look great. But here is the facts. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in college football, period. I know Trask this season, his numbers are better, but you look at who is a better player objectively, nobody would dispute that Lawrence is a better player. And Uyangale, huge credit, phenomenal player, but he's not Lawrence. And it was his second start. And they almost won that game then. If Notre Dame's offense is hit or miss, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, they've looked good the last 5 weeks. They've hung over 30 in each of their last 5 games. But they also have only really played one objectively good team. You can talk about North Carolina, but there's so many doubts on that. And when you get to the bottom half of the top 25, a lot of those teams just don't compete with the upper tier. My thing on this is Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be fazed by that Notre Dame front. He's more skilled at navigating through pressure. I think Clemson's going to be all fired up to win this game with their playoff hopes on the line. Maybe Notre Dame has a bit of an edge off because I think they get in the playoff regardless of what happens here. So for me, I think the biggest thing is I see Trevor Lawrence leading them in a bounce-back fashion. He's experienced in these type of games. He's experienced navigating defenses like this, and I think they win by a score. I think it'll be in the high 20s, and they win by a score. Clemson's defense allows a few big plays, but Notre Dame doesn't pull off enough to win the game late.
Yeah, okay. I respect that, but you're wrong.
Yeah, and to go off the second part, right, how Notre Dame can win this game, right, Clemson's defense isn't a juggernaut anymore. Like, they've given up big plays to the likes of Boston College, to the likes of Notre Dame as well, even to Syracuse to some extent. And I could see a scenario where, right, Ian Book pulls off a couple big plays. The receiving core is not bad at all for Notre Dame. And I think for me, and Williams is obviously a good rusher. Maybe Williams pulls off a long rushing touchdown. Book is also good on the ground. So what they do is they minimize the number of possessions in the game, control the football, and win by a score. I could absolutely see that happening. But it's not going to be – if you're getting into a shootout with Clemson, I don't see them winning again.